everybody, Lauren Pibworth here, speaker, marketing strategist, and founder of Pibworth PS. And if you are a seasoned speaker who's tired of the one and done keynote, that hustle, and you're ready to command higher fees, make a deeper impact, and build long-term client partnerships, you are going to love this conversation. Today, I'm sitting down with the incredible Michelle Ray. She's a leadership and change expert, CSP, which is Certified Speaking Professional, Hall of Fame speaker. I was in the audience when she won that award, and I don't think anyone cheered louder than me. Um, and someone who truly walks the walk when it comes to real transformation. We're talking about the business behind the keynote, what clients are really looking for, and how you can reposition your expertise to solve bigger problems and therefore earn bigger paydays. So thank you for joining us, Michelle. I really appreciate it. So
I'm
you've
very
been
humbled
in.
by that introduction. Thank you,
You're welcome.
Lauren.
You've been in this
Yeah,
industry a long time. Not to say that we're old, but we've been
30.
doing this for a while. What do you think clients are
Yes.
really asking for when they say they want a keynote?
What a great question, Lauren. Yeah, 30 years this year, pre-internet when I started, by the way.
That's incredible.
I think it's a really interesting question because I think obviously there are some clients who really know what they're looking for, and there are others who don't. And most of the time, when I say they don't know what they're looking for, they may not necessarily be thinking about going any deeper than finding a speaker and for that moment. For the most of my career, when the opportunities come, if I have been chosen to answer the call, that's what it's been all about,
Hmm.
going, delivering a keynote speech. For those that and we have an opportunity in every situation, obviously, to start building a relationship with that client. And when you start building the relationship with the client and you start asking the right questions and you listen more than you talk, you're going to get invaluable information. I know, very hard to do as a speaker, but you're going to get invaluable information. So I do think for the savvy ones who, maybe that's not even the right word, but they're in tune, or they're open to understanding that when you go off that stage, what's going to really change.
Mm.
And every time I ask a client 3 questions at the end of the interview before the presentation, I ask them, how do you want people to feel? What do you want people to think? And what do you want people to go away and do? And when they answer, well, how do you want people to feel? It's always the same answer. I want them to be inspired.
Hmm.
What I want them to do, some of them will say, I want them to go and take action. The bigger question is, what happens next? What happens after that? And if you have the opportunity during that call to really listen to what the problems are, then when you do your debrief after your keynote, you have the opportunity then to start building something deeper. And that's what I've been learning. And I'm a late bloomer, Lauren, but I've been learning, and it's very rewarding.
One of the things, no, I hear you, and
Mm.
and you touched on this a little bit, but I want to see if I can bring you a little bit deeper. So one of
Sure.
the things I've always admired watching your journey, and that we've supported you through in the back end, is how you've shifted from being seen as just a great speaker to that true change partner. Now, you talked about those 3 questions. Is there anything else you do to steer a conversation with a client who initially just wants a speaker for an hour? Is there anything else?
Boy, oh boy, I've debated this question with people because some people will strongly say they want the keynote. Are you going to start selling them everything? To be very transparent, very often that is all we will talk about initially. The opportunity will come, um, perhaps during that conversation, but I'm going to ask them to book the debrief call, and I'm going to tell them there are several things that I have heard you say. And just to add to that, Lauren, I hope I'm answering the question.
Hmm.
I'm not only talking to the decision maker, because a decision maker may not be at the coalface doing this work, whether it's doing the work of leaders, doing the work of frontline. And I go to the nth degree to talk to other people who are going to be in the audience. And whether that's an association or a corporation or a government department, it doesn't matter. I always ask. So that gives me the opportunity to say, when I was speaking to so and so, they mentioned something very interesting. And they talked about, this issue that isn't going away.
Mm.
And, you know, would it make sense for me to say that perhaps after, we do this presentation, that we may not solve all of that in 1 hour? Does that resonate with you? That is that realistic? You know, and
Yeah.
I want them to be able to tell me that. So I have to be mindful, and I can hear it and I can tell. So I'm going to give you one example. 2022. I worked with a client and I did a keynote, and it was in, COVID time. Interestingly, the audience was live in a ballroom and I was virtual. Now that was a first. So they beamed me in purely because it was so far that I couldn't get to my next job. If I went in person, I wouldn't be able to get there, and they didn't want to lose the opportunity. But because of that executive director, the buck stopped with this person. I remembered them telling me during the call about all these other leadership initiatives, training, money they were getting from the government, and all these other programs. So I circled back.
Mm.
Now, it may surprise you, but it took, and people might fall down on the floor, but it took close to 2 years for the next big deal to come. But I never stopped. And I was, and I had, we had more conversation, and I learned and went deeper and deeper about what they needed. And we created something together. There were two other trainers on completely different topics. And this person retired, another person came in, worked on the same thing, and made it happen.
Right.
So I was persistent, and that came from one keynote. They licensed 3 programs online, turned it into initiative, bought 130 copies of Leading in Real Time to go with it, and licensed the whole program.
Yeah, I think what I'm hearing, and I think it's important just to kind of restate, is that it's not the initial conversation that creates the change. It's the what you're doing afterwards. It's your system in how you deal with a client long term that continues. It's not like, hi, I'm Lauren, buy everything I've ever sold, please. Where, what
No,
do you mean? Where's your money? Right? There's an investment in in the relationship from a personal perspective, from a professional perspective, but you never let up. You had a system, you followed it, you knew what you wanted, and you had a process in place, be it automated or in your brain, but you knew that there was more you could do and you didn't let it go.
that's right. And not letting up in not in a way that you're bothering people,
Mm.
but always scheduling the next call. So that's another thing that I have learned is I'm not going without booking that next call, on the Zoom. And, I could talk about this stuff for hours. And I think another really important thing that may really surprise people, I didn't send a proposal. I presented the whole thing online on PowerPoint, and I've done that a number of times. So I walk them through it. I give them a presentation on what I want, on what I'm proposing that they do. And I put a ton of work into it. I've got another big call in 2 days. And I would like to tell you about that example as well,
Hmm.
because it's in the same sector. So this sector is very rich for me in terms of my experience, my passion, and opportunities. And it came again from one keynote. The person who hired me from for that keynote had many different companies in their audience, and they filled out the talker dot. They came some this these number of people from this one company when I finished came up to me, all from the same company, and started talking to me. So I can share that example in a moment because that may well be the biggest opportunity that I've ever had.
Well, then you have to tell us about how you.
Okay. Now we're going to see, right? We're going to
Yeah,
see.
yeah.
But how would you like one client, Lauren, and everyone watching and listening? How would you like one client who said these words to me on the last call? You might be stuck to me, and you might, sorry, I'll say it again. You might be stuck with me until I die.
Yeah, that would work.
That's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
I have never had anyone say that to me before, maybe except for my husband, but I don't even think he has said that. um, so, oh my goodness, Lauren. So when those people came up to me, they weren't the decision maker. I had to dig, have calls with them, find out who that person was. That person was in it's 2IC in charge, but they weren't they even then, they were not the person who was going to be in charge of this program. Ghosted me twice.
Mm.
And I still connected and said, I'm so sorry, we missed each other. And then finally, after the second ghosting, we spoke. And then I booked the next call, and it was 30-minute phone conversation, Zoom, sorry. And then they said, you've got to speak to this person and this person because I'm not going to be involved in this. And I said, okay, so let's book the next call. 2 weeks from today. Yep, I'm free. I'll get them involved. And so we've gone from there. This started, Lauren, at the end of April.
So, and I realize we can't talk about the client, but how many hours, how much time do you think you put into these deals? Can you give me kind of like a range?
Oh boy. It's probably two 12-hour days for sure and more. And then you've got plus all of your experiences.
Right.
And then other conversations to maybe have some guidance on this. I would say it's more than just those 12 hours of preparation. I've asked, to record the calls. I've got transcripts. I'm going through their pain points. I'm going through the opportunity. I'm going to be quoting them back to them. It's all about them. It's not about me. And but I am anticipating that this is going to happen, and they are going to be working with me certainly for 12 months and beyond. That's the goal. And it's because they respect the experience, and that feels very gratifying that I am going to help them to really make a difference. And I think before we connected, I said to you that the real gratification comes when you see a total transformation in behavior
Yeah.
on the job, at work, when you have had a hand in that and you can see that person's trajectory and rising and you have contributed to that. Well, that's really hard to do with one speech.
Well, exactly. In fact, I think it's almost impossible.
Yeah.
I think in my experience with the, 100 or more speakers that I've worked with, um, to actually make lasting change in an
Yeah.
hour, I've never
Yes.
seen anyone do it. I haven't, I
It's
haven't, I haven't witnessed it.
right.
Um,
And exactly. And I may have underestimated the two 12-hour days, but because to put sort of a number on it, it's been in my head constantly for months. So I might come up with an idea and then I write it down and I think
mm,
about another client experience and how I can bring this in. The scope is really incredible. And it's almost like we're creating a brand, and
mhm.
that brand tied into one of my keynotes but it's going to be branded and everywhere. That's the intention. It's going to be wherever these people congregate, they're going to see this brand, logo, whatever you want to call it. I mean, that is super exciting. And I think all of us out there who have, a signature talk or a body of work, an area of expertise that you can absolutely take it to another level, it's if you wish to do so.
So would you say it's almost like you're helping them create like an internal movement? Is that
Absolutely.
okay?
And think about this. Why should we not be any different to Stephen Covey, for example?
Mm,
Someone who I could think of, I don't know how many there are. There's a wonderful man in NSA. His name is Bill Cates,
mm.
and his expertise is referral business. Well, he's turned it into a multi-million-dollar business. And that is his one area, but his signature around that, he brings it into organizations and it stays with them. So why not us? Why not? You know?
No, you're absolutely right. But it's that kind of big picture thinking that,
Mhm.
gets you the higher ticket. That, you can, we're not talking fees, but you can charge, $10,000 for your keynote, and they're okay with that. But you can also charge 10 times that or more to actually create change because you can prove a value to that.
That's exactly what I was going to jump in and say.
So,
You need to prove the value. Now, then you've got to make a decision. Because if you're going to make that, and this is what they're going to hear me say, I am making that commitment to them. It's not only them making that commitment to me. So if we do this project, I am committed. That means
mhm,
I'm turning work down on the days that we book our calls. If I can't do anything else, perhaps, maybe I can be somewhere else, but I am committed. The amount of planning, strategy calls, the amount of content creation, all the workshops, the videos, the whole thing is a, that is huge. That is my intellectual property, but that is also my value proposition.
yeah,
So they're going to need to know that I am equally committing to them, not just them committing to me.
yeah.
Mm.
Now, when we built your website, part of
Yes,
our goal was to clearly reflect that you don't just deliver speeches, right? This is something you've been thinking about and planning for a very long time. This isn't just something you decided to do. This has
right.
been part of your legacy building
Yes.
for a while. So, can you talk about how you structured your offerings to reflect that deeper value? What kind of advice would you have for speakers who are looking to package their keynotes and make a transformation? What do they need to be thinking about? What did you think about as you put this together?
Well, I mean, for many years, if you're giving a keynote on talent retention, leading change, etc., great. I love nothing better than being on stage. I never consider it work. I consider everything getting to that point work. A lot of work to get there, to get on that stage. But then, the evolution of having an academy, which is
Hmm.
still evolving, it's not where I want it to be. It isn't because having that vision and what I want it to look like. I've, shared a few ideas with you,
Hmm.
but it takes time. It takes time to build all of that and being okay with that for myself. But it's there now
Hmm.
so people can see that okay, there are other services that she offers. So if that's what you mean, it's just realizing that there's got to be something else where I can help my clients that they can see beyond and that this is more of a long-term proposition. So, think about someone like that we both know that I have huge respect for, like Carolyn Stern and
Hmm.
her emotional intelligence proposition. I mean, that is a masterful example. And she has created that movement with her company. and other people have done the same. So they take that concept, write the book, and then, translate that into more speeches, more online programs, going deeper into an organization. So it's having that vision that you can do more with what your thought leadership proposition is. I hope I answered that correctly,
You
Lauren.
you did, and I want to kind of add to that a little bit as well. So, like we've built academies for other clients as well, and it's not just having the thing.
No,
It's not just, hey, I have an academy, but it's how you use that tool.
yes,
Whether it's a website, online courses, workshops, whatever it is, you're going to have to decide how to package it, how to make it different. So the client
yeah,
that I'm thinking about, um, her general, and I mean everything is general, right? If there was only one way to do things, we'd only ever do it one way. But her way is she does the keynote and builds excitement for what's about to come through the
right,
keynote. But she's also built a wide variety of online courses that she's partnered with the client to create. We've actually created custom branded pages for that client. So
right.
now and this person talks about shift work and sleep. So now she's got 5 courses on sleep that are part of the intake for every single client. Sorry, every single employee.
Brilliant.
So now and the client pays per employee that goes through them. So it's
Right.
a consistent. I mean, who would have thought that by giving a keynote, you'd be part of the orientation process? It,
Exactly. And yeah. And if you, like me, that it's, not exactly where I want it to be. However, if you know that that client's got a LMS, learning management system, you can create from your live recordings with the client, you can create a program easily. And that's one of the examples that's what I'm aiming for with this client, that there will be a series and they will license that. And
yeah,
then they will ideally renew the license in the end of 2026.
exactly. I think our our own limitations really like our perceived limitations, the box that we keep our businesses in
Mhm.
really limits our earning potential and our potential for impact and transformation outside, right?
And Lauren, I mean, I don't know the numbers. I don't know how many speakers there are, in those big fees. I honestly, I don't know. I'm sure there are quite a lot, okay? But that is sustainable. And I would say if you talk to probably quite a number of them, they are doing other things in addition to that. But to just be going straight out doing keynote, 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 I love it too. But for me, there was a point where it's like, I want to make more of a difference.
Mhm.
And so I just think the number of people that can just keep doing that and keep doing that and keep doing that and keep doing that and not doing anything else, well, you've got to stay relevant and
Mhm.
you've got to stay in demand. You've got to keep reinventing yourself, which I believe I've kept doing and keep doing. So, it's just something to think about. Is that
It's
enough for you? Maybe.
and and exactly, there are some people who say that they never wanted to go beyond the keynote. Like that's their happy place. That's what they want to do, and that's fine.
Mm,
Absolutely fine, like you said. But it seems to me that it's harder because it's not every keynote, but most keynotes are new clients. You can't give the same talk to the same client over and over and over again. So you're constantly trying to fill that funnel. Whereas you know, if you create this year-long program for that client, if you
yeah.
got, you know, 3 or 4 of them, you wouldn't have to
Yes,
work so hard selling
right.
because your plate would be full and so would your bank account. And who doesn't love a good bank account?
Exactly. And you don't like that's it. And that's why I know who those niches are for me. And I work them really hard. And as I said, I don't have it all down. My academy isn't all I don't have it all down. But then, like I don't know if you've heard of Roxanne Emmerich and her
No, not yet.
specialty with banking.
Mm,
And oh my gosh, you look at that. That is why am I mentioning her? Those clients, they wouldn't think of anyone else because she is the expert. There was a
right.
guy just on one of the most recent Speakonomics. His whole thing is the construction industry, right? He is the go-to expert. People chase him, call him, work with him. He does coaching, he does business models, but he has made that his life work,
Hmm.
as does Roxanne, who I don't personally know, but I looked at her stuff and I went, oh, it just completely blew my mind. So you can take it as whatever way you want. It doesn't
Hmm.
have to be like mega, mega, but you can keep yourself very well. You can take care of yourself very well and make it easier on yourself. Not saying it's not hard work, by just realizing that there's more beyond that keynote. And maybe we owe it to our clients
Yeah,
to recognize that they're leaving opportunity behind for their people. It's just we've got to talk to the right people.
yeah. So
Mhm.
let's talk. We talked a little bit about money. Let's go a little bit further. How do you think
Hey,
your positioning as a transformational partner rather than just a speaker has impacted your fees and your client relationships? I don't expect you to give us dollars, but what's changed?
the self-respect and the recognition that the client knows
Mhm.
when the whole package. So when they see the website, when they hear about me from their people that have seen me, all of that, just that the whole body of work, the books, the everything else, there are clients that really, really understand that, Lauren, and they're willing to pay for it. And I think sometimes we think a bit small, and
Yeah.
there are opportunities when you've got the clients who love you. Listen to what they're saying to you on those calls, and make sure you're getting the opportunity to showcase yourself. Don't just send them a proposal
Hmm. Do
because
you
they're
use
going to get
proposals?
emotionally involved.
Do
I
you
only
do see, I didn't think you had ever like you used to send proposals, but I don't think you do that anymore,
Oh,
really.
sure. I really I occasionally do after I've had a certain call. Depends what it is. But now,
Right.
I mean, and this kind of was a big eye opener with another client in 2023 where I had the entire C-suite on the call.
Mm.
And actually, someone we both know helped me with that preparation.
Yeah.
And it was a discussion document. That's what I called it. We walked through the whole thing. I'd already had, I don't know how many calls with the two people who were initially interested in me. Then they asked me about more. So when they started asking me about more, then I got them on all of them on Zoom. And I remember I was in Orlando at the NSA convention at 7 o'clock in the morning, talking to them for an hour, and they were all the CEO, CFO, COO. They were all on the call,
Yeah.
and they came back to me within an hour, and they booked it.
Well, I think for me, part, I mean, when I moved from just, yes, we have a standard website package. Here it is to co-creating exactly what it is that you want. I mean, yes, we build amazing websites and we do all kinds of individual things, but
Yeah.
as I've been saying a lot lately, just because you're holding a rake, it doesn't make you a gardener. You have to use the tool. right? You actually
Yes.
have to do the stuff. So when we start to talk about, it's not just about having a website, it's all these other things. And what do you want your business to do for you? It's the same type of conversation that you're having. What do you want this keynote to do for you? Oh, well, then maybe we should think about this, this, and this. And have you talked about that? And all of a sudden, together, you're creating the solution. And it's the
Right.
solution that they want. It's usually not just a keynote. And sometimes it is. They're allowed to just want a keynote. They're silly, but they're allowed
Correct.
to just want a keynote. But
Of course
you,
they are. Oh, a
yeah,
1000%.
yeah.
But just, thinking about how you really can help them. Of course, it's wonderful. It's been my whole life. It's
Hmm.
been my work. I absolutely know that. I also believe that we have, as I said, we have that opportunity. There's many people we know that have done it.
Yeah.
Look at Greg Schinkel with his business. There's so many people they've gone they've gone into this on another level and taken their one area of expertise, that one sector, and worked it extremely well. It doesn't have to be one sector, but it can be one proposition, one idea that
Yeah,
you can replicate that with other organizations too.
absolutely.
Yeah.
We're almost at the end. You've always been ahead of the curve, like always. Um, are you seeing a shift to what clients wanted, even just the last 4 or 5 years? Is there anything that you're already starting to think about for your
Wow,
next
Lauren.
pivot? Because you are, uh, yeah, queen, change queen.
I wonder what you were going to say there. Uh, I mean, first of all, I don't know, maybe I'm being a bit kind of a bit negative, or when I say this, look how saturated the market is with speakers. I mean, not like never before,
Hmm.
never before. People are vying for a client's attention. And everybody talks about, the differentiator, finding that differentiator. I know Azadeh is a big fan of that. You're a big fan of that. And so it is harder. It is more cluttered. But first of all, you've got to believe in yourself. You've got to believe in your idea. So what I think has been a game changer, and whether some of us want to go down that road or not, 5.5 years ago, I didn't know how to use Zoom. So now, with some of the clients that I work with, that opportunity to do this work online is really great.
Hmm.
I can say that now. Was I grateful when the pandemic hit? Who was grateful? It was devastating. Lost everything that was on my calendar.
Yeah.
And now I can look back on that experience and see this whole other part of my business, this whole idea about licensing, the whole idea about reaching more people, being incredibly confident and comfortable in front of that little green dot, and how you can transform. You can, and absolutely, you need the continuity with the client, which is what these bigger projects are going to give you.
Yeah,
So that's a game
absolutely.
changer, Lauren. I really think people were doing it before me very successfully. I didn't have a clue, you know?
And I think you're giving yourself some grace there. And I think that's important too. You know, other people were doing it, they were doing it better, but I saw an opportunity and I like, that's something that I can learn from someone else. We don't have to look at each other. Yes, it's a crowded marketplace, but we don't have to be competitors. That's kind of the spirit of the Canadian Association of Professional Speakers is, lift as you climb. Like we're all trying to do this together. And I love that about it. Is there anything else you want
Abs-
to? No, go ahead. Is there
Ooh,
anything else you want to add?
mm. I think we've talked about a lot of things. I bet I'll hang up and I'll think of something else. But I suppose when you get when you get an idea in your head, uh, and an opportunity, because for me it really came in the beginning of 2021, where there were several clients that's when the penny started to drop for me about bigger asks and what I was capable of in this medium that we're on right
Mhm.
now that I never even dreamed about. But when I saw that and people weren't just looking at one date, uh, and were open
Yeah.
to more, then I started running with that. I love that you mentioned custom pages. Actually, when you said that, I thought, okay, I got to pull this off. Maybe I don't have a custom page for this upcoming call, but I will have a beautiful looking PowerPoint. I don't know if I can get the custom page done. A video that is going to represent them, that is
Mhm.
going to be very inspiring. I can probably pull that off. That's going to, because people, that old saying about the emotional connection, and they see themselves in it. So
Yeah.
you can create that, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. You've got all the assets, you've got your content, you've got your thought leadership. Now you just need your imagination, and you need to tap into your creativity and get them excited. And again, when it's all the right people and everything's aligning, you will be blown away.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Mm.
Michelle, thank you so much. I love talking to you, and I love this topic because well, I'm all about increasing your income and impact, right? So this is right in line with everything that I've been working with my speakers about. And it's an amazing reminder that real change isn't a mic drop. It's a journey, right?
Hmm.
It's not a one and done. It's going there's going to be so much more to it. So, if you are watching this and wondering how to package your expertise, raise your rate, or build a business that transforms organizations, I'd love to help. I'm pretty sure Michelle would love to have a conversation with you. I'm just going to put that out there. Just, offer your brilliance for free. But reach out to us. We've been working with Michelle for a while and other clients as well. But that's exactly the kind of work we do here. You can visit pibworthps.com to learn more about how we help speakers like Michelle and like you to turn your brilliance into a high performance marketing machine. Until next time, keep learning, keep leading, and remember your message deserves a bigger stage. Thank you.